Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Hookah Anonymous, and you are now rocking with Mickey Truth. She live up to her name, not the fame. So make sure y'all subscribe to her channel and stay updated on what's real. Bye.
Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.
What's up? It's your girl, Mickey Truth, aka Mickey Facts. And I'm back with another video, y'all. Y'all already know this is a continuation from my last video. But as always, let's get the housekeeping out the way. All information contained in this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All information used in this video is per the Fair Use Act. And any conclusions that you draw is on you, not me. So let's get it. So we're going to get straight into it, y'all. We're finally in the transcripts of the deposition for Agent Cromer, okay? And he is now getting into the good stuff. Who is Fidel Suarez? And what is his connection to Cuff, a.k.a. Dion Gatlin? And if you haven't, make sure you go watch part 1. But let's get into it without further ado.
Told you all this stuff about him being in prison and what phone number he had used, his trucking company. The agent in Los Angeles told you all stuff? No, CS1 told me that he was in prison. Hugh, CS1 told you he was in prison? Yes. We didn't know anything about. I never heard of him. CS1 told us about Fidel, told us about a guy named Cuff, and the agreement they had to start distributing drugs that was going to be supplied by the people who Fidel worked for. Hugh, so when she gave you the information on Fidel, his phone number, you ran it through the system and tracked down all this information about him, including the agent who had actually worked on his original case? Yes, sir. Hugh, when she gave you the information on Cuff, did you do the same thing? We didn't have anything to go on him for Cuff. Hugh, you had his phone number. Whatever number at the time that was provided, there was no information. So it was the only thing we knew. About him, he was from St. Louis and a nickname Cuff. And I wasn't going to have them go try to search down something.
I'm going to have to definitely say, I'm starting to feel a little iffy. And this is why, before we get back into the transcripts, if Big Meech allegedly was a third-party cooperant, why wouldn't they know his actual name? I don't know, right? That's what I'm thinking. Like, why would they only go by nickname? Or was it planned to look like that? Definitely it's too soon. I got to keep listening. Let's keep going.
The more viable person out of those two was, as far as how I looked at it, was Fidel, because he was dealing directly with the source of supply in a source country. Hugh, so Cuff wasn't that important to you? Not to me, no, sir. Hugh, and you didn't check Natus to check the phone number or the moniker Cuff to see if it came up with anybody in St. Louis? I didn't check anything. I don't check that. I didn't do it, no, sir. Hugh, did you tell me that when you had the number for Fidel and you had the number for Cuff, you checked in the DEA system to see if there were calls between the two? Did I misunderstand you? No, you misunderstood what I said. Hugh, what did you do when you had those two numbers? Just exactly what you said here, or did you do something more? I entered them into the system. Fidel's number hit in the system into an investigation. That's when I made the phone call to Los Angeles, and that's how we identified him. And also at the same time, CS1 was able to look up and find Fidel based upon BOP records. Hugh, Fidel Suarez? Yes. Hugh, did you enter Cuff's number into the system when you information? Whatever number she provided, yes, sir. Hugh, so you did basically the same thing, and you said the agency, you're talking about the DEA, would have a record that you entered Fidel's number into the system and a record that you entered Cuff's number into the system? A. Yes, sir. Q. Okay. I want to go back a little bit. We were talking about your relationship with CS1 before we got into the payment aspects. You mentioned sadly that your son passed away from leukemia. Is that right? A. Yes. Q. And that was a tragic event for you. Am I correct? A. Yes. Q. And I'm sorry to bring this up, but did your relationship with CS number 1 change after the passing of your son? A. Yes, sir. Q. Did she send flowers to the funeral home? A. I didn't know about that until later. I didn't know that. My wife sent a thank you card to everyone who sent gifts or cards. And when I looked at the list of people she sent things to, yes, she was on that list. I don't know what. She sent it all. I just know she was on the list when my wife sent something that said thank you, a thank you note. Q, but you were moved by that?
Now, what we can confirm is, if y'all haven't watched that full interview of Cuff, definitely go watch it. But in that interview, he states that he was not the target. He said that Fidel Suarez was. So that definitely just confirmed it in that part that that was the case at the time. So, I mean, so far, I still don't see anything or have heard anything that say Big Meech is like the person. But like I said, this document alone is 158 pages. But we gonna have a lot of videos and a lot of lives to get through. But for right now, we need to focus in on Fidel Suarez. Okay, so let's get back into it.
I was moved by what? Q, the fact that she had shown some sympathy at the time of your loss. Sir, I didn't know she sent anything. I was devastated as a human being just for the loss period by itself, you know. Q, I understand. A, so that's what that was. Q, did she send you a personal note of condolence? A, no. Not that I can recall, no, sir. Q, did you have conversations with her about the loss of your son and the emotions you were going through? A, yes, sir. Q, and did you describe with her the tough time that you were going through? A, that my family and I were going through, yes, sir. Q, and did she share with you that she had recently gone through a similar tragedy in her own life with her husband's passing? A, yeah. Eventually, yes, sir. Q, and the two of you became closer after that, is that true? A, we had interaction, yes, sir. Q, you began to discuss personal matters with the confidential source?
Now, y'all know I've looked at a lot of documents throughout multiple cases dealing with this, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but here and there you'll hear me throw out some stuff just to give you a little more context. So, based on my research, I can say that I've confirmed that Tammy Cohen's, right, was married, and her husband did pass away in 2007 due to a motorcycle accident. So, like I said, I'm going to do more content and get more in-depth in other things, but I just want to kind of put that out there why a lot of people are tying in that Tammy Cohen's is in fact CS1. But again, yes, I can confirm that her husband did pass away in 2007 due to a motorcycle accident. But let's get into the transcripts again. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We get into the business here, okay? Let's go.
A, yes, sir. Q, you would see her outside of work business? A, yes. Q, movies, dinner, things like that? No movies. Q, just dinner? A, it's in context of let me explain this to you, okay. Q, please. A, as far as the dinner is concerned, okay, one thing, and I'm sure you have to know this now, divine intervention goes here. When my son passed away, before my son passed away, I didn't discuss anything. The only thing anybody knew except the people who were close to me in my group knew that just my son was sick, not that he was terminally ill and dying. I never discussed that with her or anyone. And it goes back to the flowers, what you're saying and everything. One thing that happened that I didn't know, And it wasn't until months later, after my son passed away, that she knew my youngest brother. He doesn't know anything about her. But my brother helped put the program together for my son's service. And my brother, only knows her because he was dating the young lady next door. He has nothing to do with any criminal activity or anything.
Seems like this is definitely getting sticky. Listen, y'all, we gonna continue on, play some more of the transcript. Shout out to everybody that has joined for membership. I haven't done a live for y'all yet, so you know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna definitely drop. I'm gonna plan on doing it tonight. If not tonight, tomorrow we are going live, okay? For my members that have joined my YouTube membership. So I appreciate y'all. Shout out to you guys, okay? So let's get back into it.
Dating the next door neighbor's daughter. And he was getting the PowerPoint collage together for his service. We sent him the photos we wanted for the service, and he utilized CS1's computer to put the PowerPoint presentation together. And CS1 at that point saw me and my children on those photos, and never mentioned it to me at all for months after that happened. So any condolence cards or anything, I didn't know about any of those things until I looked down the list of it. And yes, I did speak to them. They approached me about telling if I wanted to speak to them or talk to the agents first, and said that if I ever wanted to know how they got through their tragedy or their loss, to speak to them. And I didn't want to talk to anyone. It was very difficult for me, and I didn't want to talk to anyone. But my son's birthday was a couple weeks after he passed away, and it was tough for me. And one day we just started talking, and that was it. Hugh, and am I correct that you were grateful for her for allowing your brother to use the computer to prepare the PowerPoint for your son's service? Are you saying that, eh? I didn't even know, period. My son passed away September 23rd of 2011. I didn't even know my brother even knew her until December of 2011. So how can I be?
It's a little bit too much of a coincidence, though, for the brother to know her on the level to use her computer. We're not. I'm gonna leave that one alone, but I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I don't know about that one, but let's continue on.
Anything that I don't know? Hugh, well, I'm just asking the questions here. Okay. Hugh, so you knew about the fact that she had sent flowers to the service, and then you later learned that she had also helped your brother with the PowerPoint. She didn't help my brother with the PowerPoint at all. He just utilized the computer. That's it. Flowers, I didn't know she sent flowers. The only thing I knew was that my wife sent a thank you note to everyone who sent some token of, I don't even know the right word right now to use, of sympathy, either a card or a flower. So anyone who left electronically or physically at the funeral home, we wound up getting a list of everyone, and we sent thank you notes to everyone. Hugh, did I understand correctly that when you suffered this loss, you had difficulty finding someone else who you could talk to about your feelings and how you were going through this, and you were able to do that with CS number 1? Can you break that question up in two things? You're asking two separate things, sir. Hugh, yes. Let's take the first one. Okay. Hugh, you testified earlier that when you were going through this tough time in your life, you found it difficult to talk.
Ooh.
Case. Redacted volume 568.
Let's keep going, y'all.
To anyone else at work or anyone else that you knew about how you felt? No. Initially, when my son passed away, I spoke with the people in the Employee Assistance Program. Me, my wife, and my other 2 remaining children spoke with the EAP program. And for whatever reason, that person in the EAP program told the front office and my boss that we were going to see them. I don't know why. And so I decided not to go, I ended that. And after a little while longer in my grief and stuff, and like I described to you, one day I wound up speaking to her.
All right, so for some reason during this trial, they are jumping all over the place, okay? So they're going in more details about the relationship between the agent in CS1. Okay, so like we kind of get that. Okay, that they had some type of relationship. Y'all definitely can just read that part of it. I want to get really into the situation with Cuff and definitely Suarez. So give me just a few minutes. I'm trying not to stop the recording because I kind of just want to keep it going and really get into what we want to know. All right, so let's start. Ooh, let's start here. Let's see what it's talking about right here. Can I start right there? Let's see.
Hugh, did it ever become sexual? A. No. I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I don't want to. But this my son passed away September 23rd of 2011. I haven't since November of 2011 had an intimate sexual relationship since then to today because dealing with emotional, personal issues that I'm still trying to work through. Hugh, did you ever take any trips together with confidential source number 1 that were not directly related to the business of the Drug Enforcement Administration? A. Yes, sir. Hugh, how many? A. There were 2. Hugh, where did you go? A. The first one, my college roommate and I and my brother.
What
1 2
the world
Case.
is going on?
Redacted Volume 5, 72. Had planned a trip to go to Biloxi and after some time the 1st of 2012. As
Like, I
my
know I was
roommate, my
skipping y'all,
college
but hold
roommate
on, I
and
wanna see what they
I,
talking
we
about
take
right
a
here.
trip together every year or every other year. And I asked my brother to go as far as to show my appreciation for all that he has done for me since my son passing away. And so we made our travel arrangements and everything. Unfortunately, something happened with my brother. He couldn't go. But beforehand, and let me back that up. Before he had told CS1 where we were going, and that I was going, we were going to fly. CS1 tried to convince him to that they wanted to go and to have my brother drive with them there. And he told me about it and I said no. My brother couldn't go for other reasons. My roommate and I had already sent my brother the itinerary.
So, okay. Look, what? I don't know what this is. CS1, aka maybe possibly Tammy Cohen's had between her legs, but this is crazy, okay? Like you're okay, let me keep skipping through.
Because
let me find
one
what we looking for.
case.
Let me find what we looking for. Go, woo, what? Okay. All right, let's see. Where is Shout It at? All right. And y'all, I'm just not even gonna pause it. I'm just gonna keep on going. Okay, like she not okay. So I'm just skimming through. They basically saying that she even found herself like intertwined with his roommate, friends, all types of stuff like that. Okay, so all right, so bam, here we go. We're about to get back into it, and I think I'm gonna start right here. Let's see.
A. No, sir. Hugh, and jumping back just for a second about the payments. Do you believe those started sometime in late 2011 after you came back to work? A. Yes. Hugh, the $2,500? A. I believe so, yes, sir. Hugh, and if she received $2,500 7 or 8 times before the August 28th, 2012 search warrant, would you have any reason to dispute that? What search warrant are you talking about? Hugh, I'm sorry, the warrant for the Title III application of Mr. Gatling's phone.
Okay, we getting
One
somewhere.
case.
We getting somewhere.
Redacted, Volume 5,
Let's keep
77.
going.
A. I don't know when St. Louis signed the affidavits for Mr. Gatling's phone. Hugh, August 28th, 2012. A. Okay. So yes. Yes, sir. Hugh, and am I correct that let me just ask it this way. Did you ever tell the agents who were writing the documents for those payments to give confidential source number 1 credit for work that was done by someone else? A. I don't understand what I don't understand. Could you clarify what you're asking me? Hugh, I can give you an example. A. Okay. Q. Did you ever tell one of your subordinates to prepare DEA documents that outlined some work, service, or information provided by a different confidential source that was changed in that report to give the credit for the work done by confidential source as work done by confidential source number 1? A. No, sir. No, sir. About Q. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. A. In February of 2012, February 2012, or March of 2012. A. Situation arose where it was a bad but a perfect storm to get two people to work together. And CS1, after providing the information relative to Cuff and Fidel, began to fear for their safety because of the purported violence that CS1. 1-2 Case,
All right, let's get
redacted
into it.
volume 578. Attributed to Fidel to Cuff, excuse me, and the people that he knew. And at the same time there was another confidential source who was working with us, but we were afraid because we had a lot of investigative deconfliction issues with a host of other agencies and also with some of the targets of the investigation we were working on, that we decided, and this is before St. Louis DEA St. Louis, we hadn't spoken to them at all. We decided to take advantage of CS1 knowing Cuff and his associates, so we decided that we would bring those two together. They will work together. They would sit up there and explain, introduce each other to some of the people, to targets they were already familiar with. CS, the second CS, would meet Q. Is that person ever referred to as CS number 2? In what document? Q. I understand it's difficult. Did you ever refer to her as CS number 2? The court, why don't we approach? Murray Welby, maybe we should just come to the sidebar. The court, if you're going to refer to that, we need to approach. Emira Welby, we're on our way. Sorry, Judge. The court, okay.
Is getting good here. So a little recap. So they are now talking more in depth about the St. Louis case, okay? So if y'all notice, we've mentioned it started with in Atlanta with CS1 providing the name of Fidel and Cuff, okay? The DEA agent Cromer then ran phone numbers for both of these people, okay? One of the phone numbers hit in Los Angeles to a case that was out there, which Fidel Suarez was listed on, right? So from there, then they was able to tap into St. Louis. Now, they did say they didn't know Cuff's real name and nothing like that. However, I guess the buzz of just Cuff himself kind of piqued interest at this point, okay? So now they're tapping into exactly what went on with the St. Louis aspect of it. So let's get back into it.
The court, please continue, Mr. Welby. Mara Welby, thank you, Your Honor. The court, I'll give you until 11:40 since I was late coming back from recess. Imara Welby, thank you, Judge. By Imara Welby, Q, Agent Cromer, you were describing for us what you described as a terrible but perfect storm where you were using an individual that we've referred to as CS number 1, another individual we're now going to refer to as CS number 2 on the same event? Do you remember where you left off with your description of that event? A, yes. Q, can you continue? A, I don't understand. What do you want me to continue? Q, you were describing an event where you had information about Mr. Gatling that was in the possession of CS number 1, and there was another CS that had information, and you were going to try and do something to put the two together, and you were describing an event that took place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I hate when they do that.
Redacted, volume 580.
We're going to continue.
A, yes. Q, can you finish describing that event now that you know who we're referring to? A, who the other person was, or Q? You were telling us about an event where you used two confidential sources. A, yes. Q, one of which was CS number 1. A, yes. Q, and then you said there was another confidential source that had information you thought could be somehow used to make some sort of connection. There was a question about the making sure that we were on the same page as far as who that person was without saying their name. Then we went up and talked to the judge. Yes. Q, and we clarified who the person was? Yes, sir. Q, and now what I'm asking you to do is to complete your statement, to finish your answer. The court, can you just start over, Mr. Welby, now that we know who the second CS is? By Amara Welby, Q, I asked you about any instance prior to August of 28th of 2012.
We need to know who
Case
the second
for
person is. Hold
redacted,
on,
volume 581. Yes. Q, where credit was given to CS number 1 for work that was actually done by a different individual. And you started telling us about the events of February and March of 2012 where there was some participation in an event by CS number 1, but CS number 2 was also there. There was no event. There was just a meeting.
Oh my gosh, like, what?
So in 2000, in February or March of 2012, you instructed your subordinates to draft documents giving CS number 1 credit for work that was actually done by CS number 2? No. Q, what happened? No, sir. In February and March of 2012, CS 1 and 2 were introduced to each other then.
Okay.
Q, okay. And what happened when they were introduced?
Okay, pause right there. So what we can take from that is that at this point, CS1 and CS2 did not know each other prior to March 2012, okay? So let's just put that on the table. CS1, CS2, according to this testimony, did not know each other before February or March of 2012. All right, let's get back.
Introduced? They were supposed to get together and meet and introduce the targets that each one of them knew to each other to get to know each other's targets. Q, okay. And what happened after that? Yes, they collaborated together. Q, okay. And when you described that event, after my question about an event where you gave credit to CS number 1 for work that was actually performed by a different confidential source, you can't remember how that answer was responsive to that question?
Yo, so this is where it's like, they all over the place. So basically they're saying CS1 target, which we know for sure is Cuff, right? At this point. Goes to, and then CS2 has a target. And they're gonna bring them together. So my question is then, so is Suarez really the target for CS2? Are y'all thinking that too? I don't know. We got to keep listening. That's why I told y'all, so many layers. You just got to piece it together. All right, let's get back into it.
Case. Redacted, volume 582. No. I don't recall the instance where I don't understand what you're asking as far as could you show me a document or something what you're saying, what you're talking about. Because I have no idea what you're talking about. Q, we can get to that a little later. The document part is going to be a little more challenging. But what I was basically asking was prior to August the 12th of 2012, were there instances where CS number 1 was paid official government funds or money from the DEA for work that was actually done by a different confidential source? I don't know what you're talking about. Q, you don't understand the question? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Would you just show me whatever document you're talking about? Q, are you refusing to answer the question? I just answered your question. Q, your answer is I don't know? No. If you're asking me did CS1 or CS2 get paid for work that someone else done, if it's a collaborative effort, then both of them did the work. Q, what I asked you was prior to August 28th of 2012, did CS1 ever receive payments of funds from the DEA for work that was performed by a different confidential source? I just answered that question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
he
6, 7.
He like,
Case for redacted, volume 583.
Let's keep going, y'all. We get
Q,
somewhere.
no, you didn't. Can you answer it now? I did. I said Amara Welby, Your Honor, I'd ask the court to instruct the court. I think he did answer the question earlier, Mr. Welby. But I'm not sure because my screen is scrolling. Are you able to answer the question again, Mr. Cromer? I thought he asked and I thought you answered, but the witness, yes. A. After when those two collaborated and worked together, they were paid for the collaboration work that they did, for the body of work that they did. Q. And that included work that was done by CS number 2? A. By both. Q. Did you ever tell your subordinates to write the report in a way that would give credit to CS number 1? A. No. Q. Did you ever tell your subordinates to put false information in the reports? A. No, sir. Q. Did you ever tell your subordinates A? If I could just I never told anyone to put any false information in any document, period. So I hope that clarifies you with that right there. 1.
All right, let's go ahead.
Redact. Q. Did you ever tell your subordinates to repeat the same information that was used in prior reports to justify subsequent payments to CS number 1?
Okay, they keep talking about these payments. Hold on. Okay. I thought we was getting somewhere. All right, y'all. Finally. Because I'm like, oh, we get it. Possibly she got paid for some stuff she wasn't doing. But let's get into the question at hand. Y'all ready? I know y'all are. Let's go.
How to respond to that? The court, and maybe, Mr. Welby, you can show him documents a little bit later. Amara Welby, yeah, why don't we do that later? It might be simpler to just do it at that point in time. By Amara Welby, Q. Prior to the filing of the affidavit on August 28th of 2012, did you ever pay confidential source number 1 for information that she provided regarding Dion Gatling? Who is Dion Gatling? Q. Cuff. A. She got paid for information related to Cuff, yes. Q. Prior to August the 28th of 2012? A. Yes.
Okay,
1, 2, 3, 4.
We getting somewhere.
Redacted. Q. She was paid 18 or 19 more payments after August of 2012 for work that she provided for you and your unit. Is that right? A. I'm not sure how many. Q. Was she paid basically every month? A. I said a monthly stipend. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Hold on, okay. So we can at least say she definitely got paid for the Cuff information. So she was definitely a paid informant when this Cuff case took place. Now, I will say here they talk about her bankruptcy, and I will say that is confirmed because remember in my original video I told y'all I pulled the bankruptcy info and was able to see that BMF on there was listed. So yes, now let me skim through here. Let's start here. Like every time I see Cuff's name I try to go there, but they keep talking about this money, and at this point that's not what we're looking for. So here we go.
The middle of bankruptcy proceedings. Q. Am I correct that in order to justify these monthly stipends that you described, you would have to put in reports things that confidential source number 1 did to warrant those payments that were on a monthly basis? A. What they were doing, yes, sir. Q. Was it your hope that the information that she provided on Dion Gatling could be used to further justify payments to confidential source number 1? A. If you're talking about August of 2012? Q. Yes, sir. A. They were already being paid for the information, the cooperation that they were providing to the government for that. Q. Was it your hope in August of 2012 that any additional information that might relate to Cuff or Mr. Gatling could be used to justify future payments to confidential source number 1? A. I don't understand your question. But let me say this right here. Once they came up with Fidel and Cuff, and once they started providing that information, and once it looked tangible where it could possibly do something, and then when it cross-sected with the St. Louis investigation, at that point I had briefed my boss about it. And until the conclusion of that investigation, and they were involved in it, until those people were brought and arrested, then they...
Hold up. So was it already an investigation into Cuff anyway in St. Louis? And the information that was provided to Atlanta just tied it in. Hold up. We got to keep going because now I'm starting to think like, okay. Let's continue on though.
They.
We're getting
1,
there.
2.
We're getting
Case.
there.
Redacted, volume 587. We're going the $2,500 is there. That is what it goes back to, is what I was saying, is that it's inherently dangerous what they were doing. And so that's part of why they were getting paid, was because of that right there. Because they were cooperating. Because things would come up. Sometimes if nothing was going on related to that, they sometimes neither one of them had information. Because the investigation were ongoing still, the payments weren't contingent upon, you make a buy, you get paid, you do this, you get paid. No. As that investigation moved forward, it continued to go on, until it was brought to a conclusion. They were getting paid that monthly stipend. It wasn't just them, it was other individuals who were working with us. They had that's the same principle they were getting paid under as well. Hugh, each month when you paid that monthly stipend, you had to document a reason to make that payment on that date. Is that correct? A. Or when the money was funded, yes. And what you had at least two things. This is what happened. If they had new information, the agent would put it down in there. If they didn't have any new information, then what would happen is they would just put in their ongoing investigation still. We knew because periodically I would speak with someone over. Redacted, here in the St. Louis office, who would just tell me, hey, they are still going on, they are still doing what they are doing. And I said that's fine. So as long as that was ongoing and they hadn't been arrested at that time, the payments were still good. And that's what we did. And that went uninterpreted until the time when they were arrested. And at that time, sir, so you'll understand now, I understand what you are saying. At that time, so you'll know, when CS1 and CS2 were working together, they collaborated on Cuff and Fidel. But, again, like I said, CS2 was working on something else, and working directly with the source of supply, with the sources themselves we were interpreting on phones.
Oh.
And we made a decision to do two things. Before Lewis was ever involved, we had made a decision where we were going to utilize the people that CS1 knew, and we were going to use them as customers and knock them off and arrest them.
Oh, shit.
Because the sources of supply, all we're looking for is customer base. So that's all we're going to do is just, hey, we're going to introduce Cuff and the other people that the CS1 knew. We were going to introduce them to the people who were real drug traffickers that CS2 knew directly, and we were going to allow them to conduct a transaction, let the source of supply keep their money, and arrest Cuff and them.
Whoa. Okay, so far, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not really sensing a lot of Meechy in here yet, right? I'm not really sensing where is this Meech allegation coming from, but it definitely says a lot about this Tammy Cohen's lady, okay? Now we're gonna continue on, but we're gonna have to break all this down because I'm not sure what's going on. In my opinion, kind of feel like it was already an open investigation into Cuff before Atlanta even contacted St. Louis, and it was already something going on in Los Angeles with Suarez before Atlanta tapped in. So I mean, y'all let me know in the comments if y'all feeling that. Maybe I'm missing something. Y'all fill me in, but we gonna keep going.
Them. One case. Redacted, volume 589. Because she was afraid of them. And so we had to do it in a way where we were going to phase her out. That's the thing that you have to. We were phasing out CS1 because she was afraid of them. And so, and I told CS1, we understand that you're afraid, but that's part of the reason why you're getting paid this money.
Not getting paid.
So if you don't want to finish cooperating and doing it with them, then you don't have to do it. It's a free and voluntary thing for her to do. She didn't have to provide the information. She wasn't under any, CS1 wasn't under any, they were getting for financial compensation. That's why they were cooperating with the government. So because they...
Okay, so hold on. That right there just stated, basically she was being an informant just to get paid? Oh. Cause I have been saying, I wonder like if she got herself into some mess or what, but it basically says she wasn't in no mess. Now I will say it's a different angle when we get into the Terry White case, but that's for another episode. Let's continue on.
They were afraid of them wasn't good enough to not do what we needed to do. They made a decision to move forward and continue to do that. So we brought her in the fold. We had a discussion with the guys in the group with reference to I asked the guys, what do guys think? They said, yeah, that's a good idea. Because we weren't going to target where a gentleman who is in another city, are we going to target him? We weren't going to do that. That was very inefficient on our end. So that's why we decided, hey, have them come over here, we'll let them introduce to a source of supply, ones that were familiar with that is going to help serve the one tooth.
Okay.
Redacted
All right.
because of what we're doing, and then we're going to knock them off.
Dang, knock them
But
off.
before that happened, DEA St. Louis we wound up speaking with them in reference to Fidel and Cuff. And from that point, we made the decision to let DEA St. Louis run with the investigation dealing with Fidel and Cuff, and we wouldn't do anything to them enforcement-wise in Atlanta. Hugh, am I correct, sir, that prior to the involvement of the DEA in St. Louis, there were months where CS number 1 did not do anything or provide actionable intelligence, but she was paid anyway pursuant to your agreement with her to pay her the $2,500 a month stipend? Actual intelligence as far as what we don't do by busts. I don't do by busts for my group, okay? I do long-term investigations. Because I don't do a by bust doesn't mean the information provided isn't valuable. It's incumbent upon the agents to work it. Hugh, you described the court. Are you viable? The witness, by bust. The court, by bust, okay. You're talking a little bit fast and using lingo that I don't understand. So if you could slow it down just a little bit, I'm trying to follow.
Woo, that's a lot. You know what, y'all? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go live tonight, and we're going to finish this because it will be better if we can just interact with what we're hearing, in real time. And, y'all, it's taking forever for me to record these videos, upload them, all that. So, yes, Mickey Truth will be live tonight, man. I'm about to set it up now. Y'all should see the notifications pop up to let y'all know to tune in. I'm going to say about 9 o'clock. Y'all know I be late sometimes, but just definitely tonight. We're going to tap in. We're going to finish this document out with who is Fidel Suarez. Was Meech really the reason why Cuff got knocked? Let's get into it. So, closing out, as always, holla. Cause I made it out.
I took the hard way. I ain't asking a nigga for nothing. I threw the hard way. Hard way. My heart to this day. I'm really with it. My feelings in it. So please, bitch, don't play. I took the hard way. I ain't asking a nigga for nothing. I threw the hard way. Hard way, my heart to this day. I'm really with it, my feelings in it, so please, bitch, don't play. Hey.